Good. Hitting the ground running. That's what we like.
Exactly.
Doing well. How about you?
Good, good. Good to see you.
Good morning.
And Tyler's here.
Oh, good, oh, good.
There we go.
How are you?
Alrighty. Tyler?
We declared a vacancy with
Jordan.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, no, we will do it today, but you're not off the hook.
Okay.
Yes.
I got dropped. Pick the topic. There's
I created
drama.
the webcam.
Okay,
So-
okay.
Very everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And as I was saying prior to Director Kennedy, you coming, because we were lacking a quorum. And they said, Director Kennedy is in the building. And I said, just like a great board member, you hit the ground running. So it's been a pleasure, one, to have you, but thank you so much for you joining the board, but also just an active participant. Appreciate that. So, Ms. Yolanda, please call our Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Cantrell,
Present.
Councilmember King, Director Barnes,
Present.
Director Duplessis, Director Kennedy,
Present.
Director Guzman,
Here.
Director Pacho,
Here.
Director Sloss,
Here.
Director Howard, Director Scholas, Director Antrim. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you all again so much. Thank you, Ms. Yolanda. Before asking for the approval of minutes, I just wanted to make a couple of points, if you don't mind. First, wanting to indicate, this month we experienced just higher than average rainfall, which is consistent with even previous years, meaning climate we know has changed and we're on the front lines of it. As we always say, but it's not just the words, it's the real actions and the existing conditions that we're speaking to and responding to as a utility, as a community, of course, as a city. But the Sewage and Water Board has been proactive, I have to say, you all, in communication, being very transparent as we know that this is our priority. But again, we are moving ahead. We've shifted, if you will. I feel it, meaning the momentum moving forward. Again, the actions really speak for themselves when you think about where we've been, where we are, and of course, solutions identified for where we need to be. Also, as relates to the recent setback with Turbine 4. Now, I hit the ceiling, I don't know how many times, Lord have mercy. When Ghassan and then Steve but at the end of the day, you have to focus. You have to stay focused and not be distracted, and especially and by emotion. So with that, going very deep into observing and assessing Turbine 4, thankfully, it is still anticipated to be working in time for hurricane season. That is the good news. That is our focus, as it will remain. And again, we're being transparent and ensuring accountability every step of the way, which I've indicated to our director and superintendent. In addition to that, I did want to acknowledge that we have actively been, again, meeting our people where they are with rolling out Promise Pay. I think that's a big deal. 4,200 payment plans thus far have started with over 830,000 collected. Again, steps in the right direction, understanding that balance is necessary based on the population of our customers, the population of residents that we do serve, our customers. It really is inspiring, again, to see our utility company coming just closely with our residents. Again, work that hasn't happened overnight, being very intentional in how we've moved and managed. And I have to give it up to this board, being very consistent and engaged than we've seen in over decades, especially with our fragile utility. Smart metering, again, is, we know, another thing underway, moving us into the 21st century. Over 7,000 smart meters have been installed thus far, which again, modernizing our utility will eliminate billing estimation. And so we see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we're in the middle of the river. So we have to keep on going. We pushed off, now we're in the middle, and staying focused is just as important to getting to the end. I want to thank Of course, the work happening with our power complex, making sure, thank you for responding to the needs of this utility as a board. I did so as mayor, making sure, as I've done always with my team, the utility is a priority for the city. Therefore, as mayor, it's a priority for me. It's not separating the executive branch from this utility. And I'm being accountable and responsible for that. And we'll work through the challenges as we have, but we have to, again, provide the resources necessary. Thank you for the board having my administration's back on that. And thank you to the city council for listening and understanding how we have to move in order to keep us on target. Also wanted to give a shout out. Thank you to POCO, my president pro tem, Ms. Janet, and those who have been leaning in the task force meetings. Your presence very valuable. And Renee, I know that was your first kind of really hitting the ground, embracing at the forefront, legislative in the middle, and you did a great job. This is why we brought you on, and your leadership is appreciated. I also wanted to just mention the state of the utility. I've asked that we push that back to the middle quarter of this year, simply because I would like for the task force to complete their process. And then we really, as a utility and a city, have the overarching issues that we're facing, but solutions that are tied to them and are aligned with how we're going to do phased approaches to the investments that we're making. I also wanted to give a thank you to the love you showed to Madam Mayor for a day, our last meeting. She gave us, I think, some inspiration, hearing from our young folk as she was able to articulate not only the investments in infrastructure on her block, but also understanding that, hey, our oaks and getting into the drainage system is something that we continue to have to face. And of course, it absorbs water, but it's a challenge for us, but we're working through it. And just one last comment. I mentioned that at COP28, it was the first time that the youth voice was embedded at the world stage for climate and climate adaptation. As a result of that, Bloomberg offered up cities who participated an opportunity for a youth climate board, if you will, or initiatives from your community. I'm happy to say that we, the city, have coordinated a youth engagement on climate and were awarded one of the first 50,000 grants that will move forward their initiatives, again, in alignment with this utility, the city's climate action plan. So that youth voice is critical, and even wanting to embed it in our state of the utility. Our kids get it. They understand it. And I think through them, as history has shown us, they will lead us to the future, because their future is at stake. That's what we're working towards. Thank you for giving me the time. It's worth putting on the record. You know, sometimes we kind of cut ourselves short when we don't share this way on public record. So thank you again. And may I ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, March 4th, 2024. Thank you, Director Barnes. We need a second. Seconded by Director Pacho. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes have been adopted. We'll move towards Ms. Yolanda. Committee reports?
Yes, and also just want to note for the record, Director Janet Howard is here present.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mayor, if we could move to the Strategy Committee report,
Very good.
Director Barnes.
The Strategy Committee met on Tuesday, March 12th, here in the boardroom at convened at approximately 10:30. Present was myself and Director Scholes, Sloss, Howard, and Antrup, and we missed Director Guzman at the meeting. We had a great presentation from Grace Vogel, who's with the Environmental Affairs Department here, who gave us a really detailed update on the Green Infrastructure Plan and implementation that was adopted 10 years ago in 2014 in April. And the efforts of that plan consists of multiple demonstration projects, and these are mostly partnerships with nonprofit organizations, including some of our own projects as well. K-12 educational curricula, workshops for professionals, businesses, residents, community groups, tools, studies, et cetera. We've talked a lot about how to keep the green infrastructure plan going, and I know that the staff is looking into grant efforts and next steps for the plan. And we heard some detail from Ghassan about the sources of drainage funding and how we are very limited. We pretty much have non-existent funds for green infrastructure at this time, so that's something that we really are trying to address. We actually talked about how we can celebrate the successes of the green infrastructure plan and kind of showcase that for the public, and maybe think about something that we do in the fall around that. And that is actually going to give us an excuse probably to bring in some new partners and potentially look at some new funding. So that was great, and it was just really, I have to say, terrific to hear from the staff that have been really dedicated to this, and we haven't heard a lot about those successes, so it was really nice to hear about it. We then heard from Grace Birch with an update on the communications plan and the goals for next year, and that was really good. And then we adjourned the meeting at 11:45. That was it.
Thank you very much, Director Barnes. I think focusing on the implementation of the green infrastructure plan is appropriate. Plan is only as good as its implementation, and so looking at that, and then you think 2025, 20 years from Hurricane Katrina, again, it's going to rest very nicely of looking at how we have been able to implement plans and the impacts.
Yeah.
So thank you. A motion to approve as presented by Director Barnes.
So moved.
Moved by Director Sloss.
Second.
Seconded by Director Anthrop. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? So hearing none, we have adopted the Strategy Committee's report. Ms. Yolanda.
And now we'll have the Audit Committee report. Director Guzman will provide on behalf of Director Scholas.
Thank you, Director.
The Audit Committee met on Tuesday, March 12, 2024 in the Executive Boardroom, and the meeting convened approximately at 9:01 a.m. Present were Director Maurice Scholas, Director Tamika Duplessis, and Director Robin Barnes. Absent, Director Tyler Antrim. The Chief Audit Executive, Ed Sutherland, presented an update on the internal audit and billing collections. The update included summarized results of the utility billing audit overview and recommendations. The scope of the review, including billing, collections, and associated transactions from January 1, 2022 to January 30, 2023. The internal audit identified multiple opportunities for improvement, which resulted in 7 findings. Those 7 findings are H, accounts receivables, notifications of delinquency, non-revenue water, employee systems access review, manual bill adjustments, hearings, and documentation of directives. Ed Sutherland presented detailed analysis of the findings and their associated recommendations. These recommendations will help evaluate the adequacy and effectiveness of the internal controls surrounding the utilities billing and collection process. Also presented was an update status of the ongoing safety review, civil service staffing, and the rollout of new global internal audit standards. Director Barnes moved to accept resolution R064-2024, and Director Duplessis second. The motion carried. There were no public comments, and the meeting adjourned at 9:35 a.m. Director Barnes, do you want to comment on this meeting? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's the report.
Thank you very much, Director Guzman. So as presented, we need a motion to adopt the Audit Committee
So moved.
report. Okay, thank you. It's been moved by Director Kennedy, seconded by Director Sloss. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, ayes have it. Adoption carried out. Ms. Yolanda.
Now we have Finance Committee report by Director Sloss.
Thank you. The Finance and Administration Committee met Wednesday, March 13th in this room at approximately 9 o'clock. Present were myself, Directors Howard, Pacio, Kennedy, and absent was Director Guzman. We had usual cash flow overview. The January 2024 water and sewer cash levels are 217 and 252 days respectively. The minimums there are 125, so we're well in a very safe territory. February 2024 cash collections were 22.4 million, 21.8 million, which is an improvement over 2023. The total past due accounts over 60 days are $55.5 million, which is down 1% from the prior month. And the mayor mentioned the new promise payment plans have been garnering some success, which is a good thing. We hope that there should be more of that. We're also talking to experts about financial consultants about ways to improve our collections. The action items, we had one action item, we had 4 contract renewals, we had 4 change orders, 1 contract change order by approval, 3 final acceptances, and we also had the usual information items. There was no public comment, and there being no further business, we adjourned at about 9:39 for a very brief meeting. That's my report.
Very efficient. All right, thank you very much. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Director Pacio. We need a second.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded by Director Howard. All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none, the report has been adopted. Ms. Yolanda?
Yes, and now we'll have Director Guzman provide the Governance Committee report on behalf of Director Duplessis.
The Governance Committee met on Wednesday, March 13, 2024 in the Executive Boardroom. The meeting convened approximately at 10:31 a.m. Present were Director Duplessis, Director Barnes, Director Sloss, and Director Howard. Absent myself. Discussed item, Renee Lapierre-Laurie, Chief of Staff. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your... Yes, thank you. Give an update to the Committee on 2024 Louisiana Legislature regular session. Director Duplessis, motion to move into executive session to discuss the Executive Director evaluation pursuant to LARS 4217A1. The Board of Directors of Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans will meet in the executive session to discuss the character, professional competence, and fitness of its Executive Director. Director Sloss moved to go into executive session. Director Barnes second, and the motion carried. Director Duplessis asked for a motion to exit the executive session. Director Barnes moved to exit executive session. Director Sloss second, and the motion carried. No action was taken during the executive session. There was no public comment, and the meeting adjourned at 11:08 a.m.
Thank you very much. All right, we have heard the Governance Committee report as presented by Director Guzman. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Sloss. It's been seconded by Director Barnes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, we fully adopted the Governance Committee report. Ms. Yolanda.
And now we have the Executive Director's report from Ghassan Kaban.
All right, ED.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Board of Directors. I do want to start by thanking you for your opening remarks today, Mayor. They were, as always, spot on. And I have to admit, you know, as a professional, it's hard to admit that some days are tougher than others, you know, and just being surrounded by you and the Board of Directors and very strong staff just, you know, makes it so much more manageable a day. So I feel very supported. I know you've all demanded action, you've demanded accountability, but you have been very, very supportive, and you brought alignment to many things that we're doing. And many people tend to lose sight of all the good progress that we have been making and focus on not so good progress at times. And just wanted to kind of point that out and put things into context. And my report today is going to echo many of the things that you've shared, so I'm going to be brief. But I want everybody to think of everything that we're doing and imagine if we were not doing something about a specific item. Just put that into perspective, and I think that your perspective of the utility changes. So with that, I want to start with the uh, pumping and power. Um, This has have become, very familiar and routine report to many of you. Where we are today, we are at about 40.5 megawatts, which is a very good place to be, considering obviously some of the setbacks and the up and down, the roller coaster that we go through with our power situation. This puts us in a good shape in terms of managing, a very demanding event, where a peak need might be demanded, and 40 megawatts would be fairly sufficient, maybe short couple of megawatts, but it's a good spot to be. And again, I've always said it, we can't lose sight of the fact that if this is where we are today and where we're going to be 5 years from now, this would be very, very problematic, very concerning, very alarming because of the fragility of the system and the up and down situation we go through. Evident, obviously, with the fact that we do tend to face issues, and I apologize, but this is not moving. Here it is. Sometimes things happen just because of mechanical failures due to just age and out of our control situations. Sometimes it is within our control, and sadly, this is a situation that we caused ourselves. Thank you. So, just a quick update on the unfortunate incident with the T4. We have acted as promptly as we could. We are in the middle of making the repairs to T4, and with the hopes of bringing it back, as you said, Mayor, ahead of the hurricane season. 5 to 7 weeks is somewhat of a conservative timeline. And obviously, we owe it to ourselves, to the public, to you, to run a very thorough investigation as to what happened, and then most important is lessons learned. What do we do to improve and avoid this from happening again? And as well as holding people accountable for unavoidable situations. We will obviously continue to update you on the progress, but it's looking promising that we will be back.
Okay.
Those things bearings, what are those things?
These are the housing of the bearings, and the bearings were the one. We had 2 or 3 that were damaged due to lack of
Lack of
lubricants.
oil?
Yeah.
Lube, yeah.
Yeah. Again, obviously, while we have the long-term solution, and we'll talk about that in a second, we continue to improve our short-term equipment and the status. As many of you know, that EMDs have given us a lot of trouble. I mean, they were designed to be backup to the backup, but they have, consistently, recently been relied on more and more often, but they've also been problems for us in terms of starting up or shorting out on us during events. So we've replaced a very key component that hopefully will make the starting of these EMDs much more reliably with the new air compressors that we just installed. We have 3 of them operational, with 2 working on to bring them back very shortly. And with that brings us to about 51 megawatts, again, with some redundancy when those 2 are back online, along with frequency changes have been down as well.
Can I ask a stupid question? If we could use 50 megawatts and we have 45, does that mean a pump doesn't work, or does it mean they work slower?
That means a pump does not work. It does not have the power to drive. It's either a pump is on or a pump is not on. So we make a priority based on obviously elevations, rainfalls. There's few drivers that enter into that decision-making process of what pump gets what.
Thank you.
But again, with anywhere between 40 and 50 is a very good capacity, allowing us to turn on any pump that we need. You know, short of an incident where something goes down, we should be in a very good shape. And once T4 is back online, we will be at a very, very good place where we'll have ample redundancy. So.
Once the power station's online, we'll be golden.
And that's my point before, is that, you know, the project is so imminent, and, you know, it puts this into perspective that this is, you know, fragile, but it's short term, right? We do have a solution around the corner. And
very
this
good
is very, 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 you can't overlook that. So speaking of the power complex, you know, it's again, Entergy substation is fully complete and ready to be utilized for, obviously, initially for commissioning all the other pieces that continue to be installed or brought on site and what have you. The utility rack, which is a very key, it's the spine. It's just gonna carry the power from one location to another. Is again tracking and is on track for completion, and obviously the contract that involves installation and commissioning of the many components, such as the turbine 7, the frequency changers. We opened bids, as many of you know, and we experienced a shortfall in funding or discrepancy between the actual bid and the estimate. And we are, as the mayor said, you know, with her support and the city council support, we have identified a source of fund to close that gap. We will appear at city council budget committee next week, and we're gonna go over all the details and the facts that led to this discrepancy, and obviously more importantly and legitimately asked by the mayor and the city council, how would we avoid this happening again? Because as many of you know, we have, you know, another project right after this that will be funded with the $29 million from capital outlay, that we want to make sure that that is accurately estimated and bid and obviously executed, so we can deliver the project by June of next year. So.
Yeah, and this is also just an example of how, you know, there are consequences to actions. And as the project was pushed further back than the responses to bids, everything has an impact, you know. And I know that we were very hopeful when we had a partnership with Entergy on the front end to have started this project sooner, which again would have impacted the timeline, but having to push it further back, but also thankfully going after the resources necessary, bond sale and the like, we were able to fill the gap and make it happen. And so now here we are. Inflation matters. We've seen it across the country. I've heard it firsthand from my brother and sister mayors across the country, and you know, very recently. So it's still a challenge, but we want to stay on the timeline. And I think that is the biggest driver, hurricane season 2025. And if we veer off, it will have an impact with no assurances that our gap will be diminished, meaning the gap will be shorter, if you will, smaller than 20 million. And our CAO, I'll have Gilbert and my budget team, finance team front and center at the budget meeting, so supporting exactly how the administration will maneuver to fill the gap. And so we feel very good and very confident about our ability to do so because we've managed effectively, and of course, doing what's needed at the city council meeting, bringing them on our side.
Absolutely.
I just have one, just to be sure about this, the people who did the estimate that came in low have been doing work for us for years, and it's been accurate. There was no reason to anticipate this.
That's accurate.
I mean,
We've had a good partner with
Yeah.
our consultant who developed the estimate, and they had been very close in terms of their estimate compared to previous bids on other projects. So this was, I would describe it as a one-off.
Yeah.
I mean, we own some of the discrepancy for certain, and we elaborate on that in front of the budget committee members. But we also feel it's the environment, it's the bidding community. There's a lot of other drivers that led us to this discrepancy. But again, true partnership and leadership where it matters. I mean, this would hold the project if we did not have the partnership and the support from the city and the alignment with the city council. So I mean, just speaks volumes to how important this project is.
And how it's going to get done,
Absolutely, absolutely. So we take that very seriously, obviously, and we're going to add other safeguards to make sure, and quality assurances for the next steps to make sure that there's no similar setbacks or hiccups, and keep the project moving. That's what we committed to do, and we will deliver.
And in spite of the roadblocks and barriers thrown in our way, we're staying focused. So.
Absolutely. And this is another situation where I ask you to imagine if we had not, as a board here, committed to doubling the budget last year, had we not requested money from the IAB and allocated additional funding to keep the pace on bringing the backlog of thousands of surface cuts throughout the city, and at the situation where we are facing more work orders and we are creating more holes throughout the city. So if we had not lowered that number, can you imagine what the city looks like with, from 5,000 to 6,000? I mean, that backlog continues to grow. So, I mean, a huge initiative that we're obviously staying the course with additional funding, a new contract coming on board in May, with your support, extending a current contract to allowing us to continue to whittle that backlog down. So just put it in perspective.
Yeah,
It's
and
an
without
enormous-
fair share,
Right?
this wouldn't even be
Right?
possible.
Absolutely.
But we did that in 2019. It matters.
Absolutely.
You have to always stay focused on that because you're bringing your people along too.
Right. We're
Progress.
bringing results, and
Progress.
$8 million from the IMF, from that was supported by the IAB, was significant to see that drastic drop in the backlog.
And I want this, we got work to do for Super Bowl coming, and I thank you for leaning in on that, but it
Absolutely.
ties in.
Absolutely, absolutely. You talked about that. That's another tool that we have identified. I have to say, probably about a year ago, we've talked to other cities who've, leaned on this program to help them bring delinquent accounts into, paying accounts. And this has been an awesome tool. As of early February to now, we brought in $830,000. That's money that we would have never collected had we not implemented this new. Things take time. This took us. It was quite an effort to interface their software with our several softwares to make this work seamlessly. It took a lot of effort from our a lot of staff through other many departments to make this happen. So again, we can come up with our own ideas that bring fruit, and this is an example of that. Again, with smart meters, imagine if we're having this, the unfortunate situations with the current billing situation, if we did not have a long-term solution that is imminent around the corner happening, and had we not taken that initiative with your support, started a project that, $67 million with about 20+ million at the time. And we knew, and we were very confident that the money would come when we start a project like this. And we're very confident that the financial support is here, and we're going to deliver the project on time. We are up to 7,000 meters across the city. One of the biggest, and probably I'm going to call it a hurdle, but it's also being met with a very competent, very I'm gonna call it a very, very strong team working through all the details, all the nuances before we roll out at actual payments. We make sure that they're clean, they're crisp, they're timely, trying to sever the history of what what we've been carrying with 25,000 accounts, and how do we move forward with a clean system that can be celebrated and enjoyed versus carry the baggage from the past, and then then the situation is not as positive or as welcoming as we want it to be. So that's what we're working on, and again, very, very shortly we will be starting to send out bills that are driven by smart meter reads.
And we are, as when a meter's installed, the person will start getting the bill from the new meter?
Yes, yeah. It's the first bill is gonna be a transition bill, because it's gonna combine the old meter and the new meter, and then the second one will be 100% smart meter and moving on.
7,000 people who've got new meters are benefiting from that right now.
Not yet, because again, some there are, I'm gonna call them maybe 2 or 3 categories. Some are very clean in terms of the balance due. We're at 0. Those will be the first tranche that we will send them, because they're the easiest one. We'll just send them a new bill, combination of the old and the new, and presumably they'll continue to be with running a 0 balance. And then the second will be 100% smart meter driven. The second one may have some history that we're trying to figure out to be as fair as we can, as enticing and motivating, to make sure that they accept whatever we send them, and they make the payment. And then the second bill will be 100% smart meter, and so on and so forth. So what we do now is going to be huge in terms of everything else that follows will be similar. If this is successful, everything else is successful. If this isn't,
it's worth the time and effort on the
Absolutely.
front end to
Absolutely.
get it right. And that transition, if done well, will build credibility, build that trust that's needed, so that our residents see and customers know that their bill is accurate and that it is a new day, that everything that we've been talking about is actually happening. And,
Right.
and it's difficult to get a restart with that,
Right. And-
especially with all the attention.
and no one wants to send in the fresh bill more than our team, who is so excited about obviously this project, and so proud of starting such a great initiative that's going to just change the world we live in.
Board, by the way, we're excited about it too.
Yeah, so everybody is excited, but I mean, the people who are working so hard, cannot wait to send that first bill.
Right.
And lastly, I want to obviously acknowledge what's going on in terms of the governor's task force. I do appreciate many of you who took the time and appeared on our behalf, spoke, or at least took part of that. We felt that it brought a lot of issues to the forefront, and made it more pronounced. We are hoping that the recommendations are going to be in response to some of the things that we highlighted at the first session. We were allowed to speak, and we shared some of our challenges. We owned a lot of them, obviously, and we asked for specific things for the task force to consider. I'm told that the report is due today at 11 o'clock. It will be made public. I'm cautiously optimistic that will include some helpful recommendations for us, whether it's the legislation pertaining to lead service lines, whether it's a mandate, whether it's some mechanism that allow us to be more successful with implementing that program. That's very, very important program for us and in the city, among many other initiatives. So time will tell how beneficial that initiative is, and what the recommendations mean, and what the legislative body will do with those recommendations.
Yeah, well,
this
our
session.
goal is to, be aligned, focusing on solutions. And if we all want the same thing, then it should be in the favor of this utility. None of us caused the issues we have. We know that it's been over decades, but we're the ones embracing not only the challenges, but embracing solutions and partners along the way. So I'm hopeful. And, you know, Poco, I don't know if you want to offer any words on this, but I do want to say, you know, the quality of the board members, you know, it matters, meaning as you all go and become a part of the face of the utility, but speaking about the issues, but solutions, it just demonstrates our credibility, your credibility, and just the importance of this utility. And what I love most is that it provides just a diverse perspective that is continuity and leadership, and it is this board. So I can't thank you all enough. It matters.
It was,
And I want to say thank you to our senators who leaned in as well.
yeah,
Janet had her hand up.
I just think it was very positive that you embraced the commission instead of given what's often the New Orleans reaction to something, which is no.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
think that's very good for the utility and very important for us going forward.
Thank
and
you.
I agree with that 100%. I think that's terrific. I think that the group certainly means to help, and I anticipate the report will be very interesting. There are an awful lot of different opinions offered at those meetings, but I do believe the people who were there, some knew more than others about the utility, but people had what's best in mind.
Right,
So
right.
I'm very anxiously awaiting. I think 11 o'clock's right.
Yeah.
To see it.
And that's what I'm leaning on, and even, you know, thanking Paul Flower, who has been just a partner, I would say, throughout, I know, my tenure, and embracing the Sewage and Water Board and being the president, front and center, fair share, you know, pulling that off and leaning in on that, just every step. And this is what partnerships are about. But also, we know that we can't do this alone, and everyone needs to be held accountable to it. And I think this sets that tone, and that's why I want us to do the state of the utility after this work. So, yes, ma'am.
We mentioned this at the strategy committee, but the presentation that Ghassan, that you gave was so excellent.
Yes.
And it did, I just think, a phenomenal job of setting the context and getting very specific about, you know, challenges and solutions. And I say this because I think that we struggle, and I could see with, you know, body language and stuff, that there was a lot of detail there that people didn't know and didn't understand before you started talking about it. And I think it's so complicated, you know, what we're working on, and that was just a great sort of communication. And it's sort of impossible to keep doing that presentation over and over again because it's long and all that kind of stuff, but it really did a great job. So the more we can kind of figure out how to encapsulate that
Sure.
and take it out on the road, I just think it.
Yeah, and also, you know, have it embraced by other stakeholders. I mean, the press and the media have a responsibility. And it's a disservice when we oversimplify a complicated issue that has been compacted over decades. And we are fixing it, solutions driven. And I think if everyone in good faith is at the table focusing on solutions, we can get there. And that's what I'm most happy about and confident, I would say, in. So let's continue to do that. We'll acknowledge Director Duplessis. Thank you so much. Director King, thank you so much for joining. Ms. Yolanda. Oh, no, Ghassan, are you finished? Okay, thank you.
And so now we're ready for our action item. Our first action item is Resolution 66, 2024, declaration of vacancy on the Board of Directors of the Sewage and Water Board for Council District A. Director Guzman's term is ending now, and so this resolution will allow the board to start the process and advertise for District A.
Yes, and, you know, Director Guzman, you served, 8 years? How long has it been?
10. It
10
feels like
years.
10, but it's been 5. 5, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But she stays on Director Guzman stays on until her replacement, till the process is completed. So she's
Yeah, I
not
didn't want
out
to let you
yet.
go. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
she's-
man, thank you so much. Yes. Okay, so we have we need a motion to approve the resolution to declare vacancy for District A representative. It's been moved by Director Anthrop.
Second.
Seconded by Director Barnes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none, the resolution has been adopted. Ms. Yolanda.
And now we need a motion to approve corresponding resolutions that were previously approved at the Finance and Administration and Audit Committees, and those are Resolution 064, 2024, Resolution 65, 2024, Resolution 53, 2024, Resolution 36, 2024, Resolution 51, 2024, Resolution 52, 2024, Resolution 37, 2024, Resolution 38, 2024, Resolution 54, 2024, Resolution 49, 2024, Resolution 55, 2024, Resolution 27, 2024, and Resolution 39, 2024. I'm sorry, and we have one more, Resolution 40, 2024.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yolanda. I need a motion to approve the corresponding resolutions read into the record and approved previously by the Finance and Administration and Audit Committees.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Duplessis.
Second.
Seconded by Director Kennedy. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, the resolutions have been adopted. Ms. Yolanda,
And now we're ready for executive session.
we need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Moved by Director Sloss.
Second.
Seconded by Director Duplessis. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, ayes have it, and we will go into executive session.
We're gonna miss you. We're all gonna miss her, huh?
I know.
This thing's on. Are we ready, Danielle? All right, we're back. Thank you very much. Everybody, may, the mayor's left, I'm acting in her stead. May we have a motion to exit executive session?
So moved.
Been moved properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now in regular session. I would like to have a motion to approve the, I would like to, yeah, first of all,
President Pro Tem, would you like to make a comment about?
let's open the
evaluation?
floor. Yeah, let's open the floor to, are there any comments about the executive director's performance that would like to share this morning? Director Howard?
Yes, I mean, obviously, the reviews are excellent for the executive director. I think we're incredibly lucky as a city to have someone who's come in with the skills and provided the leadership on so many initiatives that we really needed, that we've been waiting for decades. I'm going to just name the power plant as one, AMI as another, the third being initiating the people plan to evaluate what we can do to make our workforce or one of our most valuable asset accountable, well-paid, well-trained. This is critical to the operations of the board. This is the first time we've had this kind of leadership. He's been carrying it out with a lot of wind in his face and from negativity in the political realm, often the public realm, and I think that it's time for this community to stop and acknowledge the accomplishments that he is leading. And I can't sing his praises enough for being strategic and getting this organization on a strategic footing.
Well said.
Thank you, Director Howard.
More.
And well said. Are there any other comments? I'll just echo everything that Director Howard said. I don't know if she missed anything, probably not, but
Missed one, but I can't
but he's
remember what it
also
is.
he's also managed to attract a highly talented and skilled upper management group of executives. May we?
Director Barnes has a comment.
Oh, sorry.
You kind of stole my thunder.
What?
I wanted to talk about the leadership team that he's attracted, but not just that, but all the employees of the Sewage and Water Board, the way that Gaston is supporting the employees, and we are so appreciative of the employees of the Sewage and Water Board, and are extremely happy that Gaston is aligned with that with us.
Excellent. Okay, if there are no other comments, which I don't see any other hands over here, may we have a motion to approve a motion to approve a salary increase of 3% for the executive director?
So moved.
Moved, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion about this? No. If not, all in favor, please so signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record reflect we have one opposed and the rest ayes. May we now have a motion, and congratulations. May we now have a motion to approve the request to increase the annual limit carryover of the executive director's unused annual leave from 45 days to 90 days.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved, properly seconded. Is there any discussion? No. There being none, all in favor, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. You now have 90 days, 3% more, which is good, it's great. Are there any other public comments today?
None, Chair.
No.
None.
If there are no other public comments, or there are no other matters, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. I would like to say thanks, everybody. It's been a long, very productive meeting, and all in favor? Guys, thanks.